Glorious Dumfries here in the southwest of Scotland, hosting its first World Championships, the Ice Bowl. And if you're going to do one, you might as well do three at the same time. Our featured game this evening, Group C draw 18, two teams on 3 wins and 1 loss, Japan and Switzerland. And all the action is going to be on Sheet D here in the Ice Bowl. Let's have a look at the standings here in Group C. Czech Republic romping through the group on 5 wins, no losses, and looking very good to qualify for the quarterfinals. And then Japan and Switzerland, both 3 wins and 1 loss. And Romania and Slovakia haven't managed to get off and running so far this week. Let's have a look at the teams. The Japanese Mitsuki Sato, the female player, and Yasuo Mochida. The male player, Aiko Iwasaki, is the coach. And for Switzerland, Michelle Gribi, the female player, and Reto Gribi is the male player. And of course, Al Moore, the Swiss national coach, coming along for the ride to look after these 2 budding young players from Switzerland. The rules: 2 players, 1 male, 1 female, 6 stones for each team, one of which is pre-placed for both the teams. 46 minutes of playing time for their 8 ends. 2 positions in which you either play the first and last stone of the end or the middle 3, and you can change that from end to end. Both players can sweep, and you can't play any takeouts until the 4th played stone of each end. Well, the team's just being announced here in the Ice Bowl, and these are our featured teams. My name is Logan Gray, and alongside me, Sarah Carlson with 2 S's.
Of course.
Good evening, Sarah. Did you have a nice afternoon off?
I did, thank you, Logan, but it's nice to be back.
Well, there's the stone colours. Japan are going to be playing their red stones, and they're going to be wearing the dark tops. Switzerland playing the yellow stones and wearing the white tops.
Yes, and it is Japan that's going to have the last stone in the first end. They drew maybe 2 millimeters from the pin, Switzerland a centimeter, so it was really close for sure.
And our 2 featured teams being honoured this evening by being presented with their gift from the local organising committee, and they're just going to make their final preparations before we get this game underway.
What kind of preparations do you have before a mixed doubles game, you think?
I'm sure it's pretty similar to just a normal game. Just do some warming up, some dynamic warm-up, a little bit of light stretching, have a swig of water, and off you go.
Yep, they do also have practice before the game, of course, 6 minutes. So important to find that perfect line and weight to the button, as the first shot's going to be the freeze to the back red one. You see the pre-positioned stones there. The team with hammer also have a short stone to start off with, and the team that's starting the end, they have a center guard. So first shot in the game is a come around freeze.
Well, that stone just sits slightly past the tee line. You can see the pin on the button, which makes this first stone at the end a great opportunity really for the team without the last stone to take the advantage. And it will be Michelle Gribi getting the game underway this evening.
Yeah, first stone really so important, and we've said this before, there's not a lot of room for error with this. It's really good if you make it perfect, but it can also get you into a lot of trouble. Looks like Michelle Gribi is off to a really good start though. Not all the way down, but that's in a great place.
Well, it's just a massive game here in Group C for the team who win this game. They're really putting themselves in great shape for contending for the playoffs, whereas the team who loses could well have a lot of work to do in the last couple of rounds and need a little bit of help. This is Mitsuki Sato.
Also coming around on the intern side. Want to come all the way down to the yellow, just played by Greeby, and this is going to be well short. Takes off the guard a little bit. Still leaves the outturn side where the yellow is angled onto the red, so could be a costly mistake.
Yeah, it's a terrific chance here for Reto Greeby to try and make the outturn come around. And cousin Michelle coming out to help. Well, doesn't manage to make the freeze, but still a useful shot played there by Reto Greeby. We've seen so far today there is a little bit more curl on the ice than there was yesterday, up to a foot more at times.
Yeah, the ice has been good. It's swingy, but not super swingy, and of course it's adjusted to the fact that there are not two sweepers on every stone like you see in a regular curling game, so it's hard to really control that big swing.
So we get our first look at Yasuo Mochida playing the outturn draw, and you may have noticed just how wide Sato was placing her brush there. She was right out at the edge of the 12 foot, so just tons of curl here this evening. And actually, Mochida doesn't look like he's got a lot of rotation on the stone, so maybe that'll contribute to a lot of curl.
Yeah, you find in the end that those stones are just going to go sideways. And, well, still a red shot stone. And now a whole wall of guards.
Okay. Good. Goed, dingen 4.
Oh, wachten.
See if Reto Greeby can come all the way down with this. Really starting to curl now as well. And has he done enough to get shot stone? It's a really well played shot.
Yeah, and actually the great thing about that shot is the angle that's been left. See those two yellow stones lined up perfectly onto that red stone at the back of the button. So although Japan lying in shot position at the moment, definitely looking in a lot of trouble here already in this first end.
Yeah, I think they're just going to try and guard their way out of this to try and keep the red one and the score one.
Oh, I don't think they have too much option really. It's going to take them at least 3 shots to get all these yellows moving.
And of course, only playing 5 stones in mixed doubles. If you're gonna get out of trouble, you need to do it fast. And this one's also just bending in sideways.
Well, I think Mr. Mochida is going to have to look at his out-turn release, and he's going to need to put more rotation on. The ice is swinging far too much for a lazy handle. And with the aggressive stones, the handle's just going to stop and the stones will start to just veer in an uncontrollable direction.
Jo, wenn er hier aanhangt, nu dat er voll drauf geht.
Nee, dort anhängen.
Sicher? Wenn der hier nicht mehr geht, er doch.
So it's actually Switzerland that's going to make the move to open this up. You like this call?
Well, absolutely, Sarah. They I don't think they have a lot to lose. They've got things so well lined up in the house that they definitely see this as a chance to be aggressive, and with all these guards out front, it's going to be difficult to access those yellows to remove that red on the button.
Big weight from Reto Gribi.
Yeah, that stone certainly wasn't hanging around.
So still a couple of staggered guards up there. See how long Japan can protect this situation in the rings. Don't think the Swiss will mind even if they run a red one into this. And that is a lot of ice because they're actually going to over curl the center line.
Well, Machida doing a good job of blocking up the centre line, blocking the path down. But the guard is very long, so I wonder if the Swiss could maybe just wiggle one through that port and tap the yellow into the red. Saw Reto Gribi lining this up when the Japanese were playing, just looking at where they can play red onto the yellow and then onto the two yellows in the house.
Just like you said, it look easier to just come straight down to on the yellow one, and then if they just get that red one moving off the button, then they would still have those guards working to their advantage. But it might also be tricky because you don't throw a lot of stones from the center line and out, so they might not know what the curl does just there either.
Well, from what I've seen so far this week, I think you just have to pick the easiest shot. It's not always necessarily the one that's going to give you the most reward, but you certainly need to give yourself the easiest shot of getting some sort of a good outcome. So it's a question of, do you think they can make this one? It looks like the Reds maybe just a couple of inches too far to make it a given. So maybe they may be able to make it, but they'll have to hit it extremely thin. And they need to weigh that up against whether they can play a delicate shot through that port. Maybe looks like it's too narrow from this angle.
Yeah, it doesn't look too easy actually.
I wonder if there's any value in running up the guard on the other side, just because the angles are so good. Well, looks like they'll probably need to hit this probably quarter stone or thinner. Don't need to worry too much about how hard they hit it. It's all about hitting the right spot. Well, it's trying hard. Oh, hits it almost on the perfect spot. Just need to hit that an inch thicker and that shot could well have been made. So can Japan manage to wiggle one in to score two here after weathering the storm?
I'm not even sure I would go for the draw for two. It's more of a risk that you hurt yourself actually. And I'm not sure it's going to be enough because you need to come all the way up into the best yellow and maybe even move it just slightly to get second, I think.
Yeah, I don't think there's a makeable shot there.
No, you just risk taking your own back a bit and lose one. So the pre-positioned stone is going to be the one giving Japan a 1-point lead after the first end.
No confirmation that it was a score of 1 for Japan in the first end. But I think they'll feel a little bit relieved to get away with that. Certainly the Swiss were the better of the two teams in the first end.
Yeah, if Switzerland would have ever made one of those run back and got in contact with the yellow, they would have been looking good for a steal of at least 1. A little over curl for Japan with their first. Sato looks like she's got some good line now. Just really, really swinging this.
You're almost needing to pass the centre guard by 2 full stones to make these freezes now. So much curl late on. Terrific ice conditions here in the Ice Bowl. Of course, the Ice Bowl is normally used for ice hockey, home of the Solway Lightning synchronized skating team as well. Well, a lovely shot here from Michelle Greeby.
Yeah, that's really a great one. Sitting 2, both behind the centre guard. They are very, very close to T-line, both of them though, so if Japan can play a really good freeze, then they could tap it later and really shrink the scoring area.
That looks like a lot more rotation than Mr. Moshida was playing in the first end.
He adapted fast.
Yeah, but this is a new path that's maybe just gone a little bit wider than Michelle Greeby, and you saw that stone really sit down quickly.
And Swiss can get a third one in here now.
Well, that's a couple of times Moshida's been very light with that stone. It looked like it sat down very quickly there. Hard to say this early whether it's the ice conditions or whether it could be a slow stone, but maybe something to keep an eye on. Of course, there are slight discrepancies in the stones, and the handle coming right out of this one as well. Stones are slightly different to one another, and that's very much part of the game, is trying to pick them up and work out the little differences in them to make sure you can get the most out of your set of stones. Play the best shots possible.
With Reto Greby's stone actually visible to Japan, they could come down and tap this to get 2 yellows behind the T-line and sit on top. I think they have elected to run back the guard, which could also be a good call should they make it.
Well, the only problem is that if they don't make it, they're just opening up the centre line, and they don't have the last stone here. I quite like your call, Sarah, of coming round at kind of hack weight. And
well, I guess as long as they open this up, then they can try and blast their way out of a big score for Swiss later. What's he got? He'll spill one into the 12-foot, but I'm not sure it's going to help them a lot because it's still blocking the yellows a bit.
Well, Swiss could play a takeout on that red stone and really increase the size of the scoring area. Hit and roll to the wing. Lie 4 with the last stone. It would require a really good shot for Japan to move more than 1 or 2. Oh, playing a slightly more difficult shot. Playing a draw in front here.
And did he just set up an opportunity for Japan to remove everything?
I think you could well be right.
With enough weight, I think you could get all yellows moving.
I think that there was a really good example, Sarah, of teams just thinking in the mixed doubles format, okay, we're playing draws, and it's almost like they get a mentality of we're going to have to play draw after draw after draw. And then an opportunity comes along where you can actually play a takeout and play it almost like a normal game of curling, but you're still stuck in mixed doubles mode. And you play a draw, and then you set up a chance to let the opposition back in. If they played a takeout there, then I'm sure they would have scored 3.
Yeah, let's see what he can do. Over curling is not the option here.
Well, it's hit a pretty good spot, and that's actually quite a nice shot. They managed to get rid of 2, almost. But I don't think that yellow will come into play, and that red in a really useful position in front of the 2 yellows.
Yeah, that red one is in a great spot. Switzerland need to be careful if they're talking about coming round this, because it could just be moved up. I think they're going to corner freeze the red one that was just thrown. And also they need to make sure that they get on the corner. They can't really leave just a perfect angle for Japan to tap it down.
A little bit of a wobbly one from Reto. Seemed to get it away cleanly though. Just looking for something in the front ring of the house. May actually be better up there, I think. Well, Japan now needing to choose whether they play the freeze or whether they drive their own red in, I would think. Freeze looks like a pretty good option if you make it. It's probably the harder shot of the 2, I would say.
Yeah, but make this freeze, and did they ever get out of trouble in this end? Final stone for Japan in the second end. Freezing against 2. Is this going to have enough weight all the way down? No, I don't think so. It will be Switzerland already sitting the 2, and they have a draw to score 3. Can even come to the back red.
Maybe that's Maybe that's why they didn't take out that red earlier on.
Aha!
They wanted to use it for backing.
They're just way ahead of us.
They certainly got themselves in a little bit of a mess though by trying to play a freeze. Look, all the stones in the centre line now. That could well have been avoided.
Final draw. Last one of the second end. Chance to pick up 3. Reto is up to help with the sweeping.
Well, needs to curl. The handle's just stopped in this again, and look at it go the other way. Wow. Another let off for the Japanese. And despite utter dominance for the Swiss, they're only leading by 1 here after 2 ends. It's Switzerland 2, Japan 1.
On the other sheets, China has a 3-0 lead over Germany, and the same for Hungary. They're playing England. Australia scored 1 in the first end against Romania, and the Netherlands have a 4-1 lead over Slovakia.
Yep.
69% for Michelle Grebe through the tournament. Okay numbers in the mixed doubles, of course. We do see a big difference from regular curling, where you have 2 sweepers and a lot more help with getting your stones in the perfect position. And I think she's really put some handle on this to make sure it doesn't do what our last one did. Find some good line. It's not all the way down to the freeze, but in a very usable position. %60% for Mitsuki Sato.
56でちょっと吐きたい。
And that's a really good angle on the yellow. So a nice shot to start off the end by Sato.
Ja, ist gut. Gut.
Aber du willst nicht schon.
Einmal rein, ja, nochmal rein, stoßen.
Now Grebe is going to try and just set up this freeze. Grebe playing 71% for the tournament so far. Well, he's really trying to make a freeze on that red, and they're a little bit heavy. Tried to make a split, and a little bit of a disaster.
In what way is it a disaster?
Well, they put the 2 Yellowstones right alongside each other. It's a really nice pocket to freeze on, or if you wanted to be a little more defensive. It's not a given, the double takeout. It's you need to get past that red stone on the centre line, but certainly an option. They could. I would quite like to see them throwing a freeze here. A really nice opportunity to get one in a good spot. Mochida playing 59% for the tournament. Well, a really nice shot there. Possibly taking the easier option and getting a lovely reward. That Yellowstone looking very, very lonely in there at the moment. And
Wenn wir sogar hängen 12 spielen.
Switzerland they almost need to try and either make a freeze on the stone in the button or play some sort of a tap up and change the angles around a little. The good thing for the Swiss at the moment is that the red and yellow is lined up onto the one in the button. They need to keep that angle.
Platz, Heather. Wow, wow, wow. Schneller.
Ja, jetzt hängen 12. Achtung, schau. Da kommt so.
Warte, gar nicht. Ist noch nicht getroffen.
Well, they still do have that angle. It doesn't really change too much for them.
It was good for them that that yellow actually rolled quite far. They didn't want to leave a double there. There's still a good roll for Japan to make though, or Switzerland if they want to use their own later.
決まればいいけど、なんか中途半端にこうなるとこれたら普通に簡単にやられるだけど。でもここにあるけど。これ先やるか。
いや、それだったらこっちじゃない。違うの。
ここにガードした。
こう。
難しいよね、そんなの。
うちが多分やるんだったらこれ簡単なんで難しくないと思うんだけど、相手がそれでワン取るの難しいかなって。
これを押してってこと。
そっちの方が多分いいですよ。
Well, difficult to say exactly what they're trying to do here. I think it maybe looks like they're guarding or throwing some sort of a freeze, but just need to be a little bit careful. There's an out-turn double on the other side of the sheet that they could be leaving. Now, it looks like this is going to rumble things around a little. How's it looking? Well, Japan's still lying here. And gets another red stone in there. That yellow stone extremely lonely at the moment.
That's a dangerous one, the one on the right side, because it's quite likely both of the reds are going to stick.
I think he had the right idea in the first place. That red stone furthest away from us on the right hand side of your picture. That's the one to make a play on, I think. Make a hit and roll over towards the centre line. Michel Grebe quite rightly indicating that Japan could make an out-turn slash on that red stone to get rid of the one in the button, and if they could do that, they could lie 3, maybe even 4. So they need to take that shot away. That's the real danger at the moment for the Swiss.
Nein, musst auch nicht rausnehmen. Musst auch nicht rausnehmen.
Also du machst den da?
Ja. Ja, wir dürfen nicht allzu schnell kommen. Ja, Nummer 8. Nummer 8.
8?
Ja.
Maar waar is jetzt mit dem Shooter bleiben?
Oh, I don't think we're too sure what they've nominated quite yet.
I believe they're playing the double on those two reds because they were yelling 8, which would indicate, well, quite a lot of weight if you're just playing the hit and roll.
Okay, so let's see how it works out. And of course, by 8, they mean 8 seconds between the hog lines. Of course, that number is going to be less or more depending on the weight. Looking pretty close here. Oh, makes a lovely hit and roll over. Super shot there by Greeby.
Impressed when you play peel weight and still manage to run up and sweep it. Is it possible that Japan now again are electing to just guard this, hoping to score with a pre-positioned stone? Switzerland only have 1 shot left.
Well, another mistake from Mochida. Well, at least at the moment it's quite difficult for the Swiss to score 2. Just need to work out what their easiest way is to score 1. They're looking at this tap, but could be a little bit dangerous. I don't see what other option they have though at the moment.
Well, if they tap this, with Japan's last, what are they going to do? It's not really looking like Japan can score 2 at the moment either.
Yeah.
Maybe they could offer that one.
Something just in the front ring could be enough here. Just to, you can almost cover both shots that they have at the moment to score 2. The one that they have for 3 is probably to kind of hit the gap between the 2 red stones. Then you could possibly stick the shooter and score 3. So they just need to be a little bit careful here. Need some
Mind
sort
again,
of
if Switzerland sits in that spot, if they tap the yellow up just a little bit to sit shot, sit in that spot, I don't think there's a lot left for Japan.
This is where it's so important to know your angles. Know how the stones are going to react and how they're going to sit once they've all been laid. Know what you're leaving your opposition.
Hate throwing the perfect stone and then realising that you just give someone else a really good option. This one really bending too though. Oh, and she's hit the guard.
Well, this could be a chance for 3. Well, the question is, can Mitsuki Sato play a heavy enough stone to make that shot?
And she's going to need to come down with some heat. And are they trying to draw here instead?
Well, if they're trying to draw, there isn't enough space to squeeze one in there, even if they played the perfect shot. So
no, so they're just going to take their one.
Oh, that's craziness.
Well,
for me.
like the easier shot, if you just look at that wide, the right-hand side red, you could maybe just try and tap that through the yellow and wiggle it onto the button as well. Might even be easier.
I still don't think there's room though. I don't think there's enough room on that side of the button to outcount the yellow at the top of the rings. I think yeah, this one's just getting thrown away, but I don't think there's any risk in trying to slash the red onto the one in the button. I think you're guaranteed a one. They are trying to draw the edge of the button here, but there just isn't enough real estate in there to get a second one on.
No, will come up short, but still take their one. So Japan scores again, and once more with the pre-positioned stone. They've just managed to protect that well enough to come away with a point. And it's now 3 each between Romania and Australia. 3 each also between Hungary and England. 4-0 for China, they're playing Germany. And 4 each between Slovakia and the Netherlands.
Well, that was a glorious opportunity there for Japanese, and they couldn't convert. So I think so far it's really been a game of missed chances, hasn't it, Sarah?
Kind of has. And I would say it is Switzerland that's had the most chances. They are making a few more shots every end. They've just had that one shot off that's not really allowed them to get ahead on the scoreboard.
Well, one thing I'm noticing is that the Japanese are constantly over curling. They either need to take more ice or they need to throw more rotation to make a few more shots. Michelle Greeby giving this one a good spin. What they have done so far is done a good job of keeping their stones in front of the tee line and in usable positions. It looks like Michelle Greeby has good weight again here. And just a slightly wider path, and the stone just stops. I just wonder if the ice is a little bit slower tonight. It's stones really look like they're gripping in.
Yeah, it seems like there's just a bit more curl, and that of course will take some of the weight off. Japan's going for the tap now. It's definitely not an easy shot because they need to curl a lot past the guard. But we know that the swing is certainly there. Maybe just trying to come around everything now.
Yeah, I think they're actually trying to make the freeze right around. Oh, just over curls a little bit.
Well, it sits in quite an annoying spot for the Swiss. But they could just hit and roll off the wide one, perhaps.
Yeah, they can play
just
a
no-sit that one.
takeout here.
I even think they're talking about the double here. And that sure is a good one. Did the shooter spin all the way out? No, he's left it in the rings.
Chance, though, for the Japanese to make the out-turn draw here onto the button. Creepy just rolling a little bit too far and does open up the access to that yellow stone on the button.
Good to get rid of those reds though, because they were a lot more usable for Japan than they were for the Swiss. And once again, this just really no rotation on the stone, lost its handle. It's now going the other way, and instead of being a perfect freeze, it's wide out in the open.
Well, I think They're thinking the stones are picking up. I just don't know how much rotation's actually going on the stone in the first place. There's no doubt that the ice is a little bit slower and maybe a little bit frostier. I'm not sure, and the handles will be stopping. I don't think they're actually grabbing anything though. They're just
No, they're just, when they start to come down in pace, they're just grabbing them a bit more, and as a player you really need to make sure that you give enough rotation that that won't happen.
well, this one certainly isn't short of rotation. Doesn't want to hit the outside of this stone. Ooh, moves the one on the bottom.
All the way out. Oh dear, that was a great opportunity to roll in a bit, sit 3, have a tremendous amount of pressure on Japan and even the last stone advantage, but now they just have basically all of the house to draw in on. So still following the same pattern. Swiss setting up really well, and then just the one miss that allows Japan back.
Well, let's just watch the handle on this. It's really starting to straighten up. Will it start to go the other way? Well, it doesn't. Really nice draw there by Yasuo Mochida. Just drifts past the T-line, however. I think for me, I'm not too sure the Swiss want to play a dead freeze here. I think if they can get a good line, they maybe want to try and tap that red a little bit.
Yeah, but they're gonna need to get a really good line, because I don't think Reto Gribe gets the same amount of curl that Yasuo Mochida gets.
I don't think anyone does.
It's always difficult when you play teams with different technique, because it's harder to read the ice of your opponent's stones. Just always need to calculate what it's going to do with your release, and this one is running a lot straighter. Great weight for just a little tap on the red, but not even close for line. Big chance for Japan to really turn this end around if they could get another good one in there, but this one's just hanging a lot wider, looking quite a lot pacier as well.
Well, let's see the handle stop again there on that out-turn line. Actually, Canada and Scotland played on this very same sheet on that kind of 4-foot line, about, I don't know, 6 foot before the hog line. We saw the handle stop on a couple of them from Wayne Tuck, so I wonder if there's just a little dodgy spot in the ice.
Could happen. But on that last stone played by Japan, though, of course it's nice to come down and sit 2, but it's really a lot better to error on the light side, because then you would block this draw for Switzerland. It's now quite a straightforward path for Michel Gribe to score the one.
Ja, zieh richtig. Richtig ziehen.
Hier, sehr lang.
Das ist lang. Wow, 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 wow.
Looking good if she has the line. She can use the backing, and it's not going to be enough. Japan with a steal of 1 in the 4th end. They will take a 3-2 lead into the half-time break. Slovakia has a 6-4 lead over Netherlands, even though Netherlands started off with a 4-point. Romania 4-3 up on Australia. Hungary, England on the 3 each. And China has a 7-point lead over Germany. We will be back just before the second half of the game with some highlights from the first 4 ends.
That's not a dangerous story. No. So the best way is to save the ticket for later.
Well, let's have a look at the story of the first half here in the first end. Here's Reto Gribi trying to come around and just tap this yellow. He moved it but didn't quite get it far enough, and that was going to result in a score of 1 for Japan here in the first end. Then the second end, look at all this yellow granite in the 4-foot circle. This was Yasuo Mochida trying to clear some granite, gets 2 of them out there, and that ultimately set up a score, well, reduced them to a score of 2 in the second end. Switzerland 2, Japan 1. Third end, a really nice stone here from Reto Gribi, makes a hit and roll and leaves some really nice angles. 2 each after 3 ends. A score of 1 for Japan there. And then again, Reto Gribi, definitely been the player of the day so far, making a delightful double takeout. And then Mitsuki Sato getting us underway here in the 5th end. Well, if you have just joined us, welcome to the World Mixed Doubles Curling Championships 2014, live from the Ice Bowl in Dumfries, Scotland. My name's Logan Gray, and alongside me Sarah Carlson. And this game could still go either way, couldn't it, Sarah?
It really could. Looking at the scoreboard, I mean, Japan up 1 point, but it's really been Switzerland putting the pressure on. Michelle Gribi having a really good game at the first and last position. But there's just been that one off stone in each end that's just let Japan out of trouble, and so far they are in the lead.
Well, definitely the first 2 ends it was all Switzerland, and they had some terrific chances. Then the 3rd and the 4th end, Japan's starting to come back into it, but more so down to more misses from the Swiss, I would say.
And they now need to figure out where to put this one, because Switzerland will be allowed a takeout with their next shot.
Yasuo Moshida, the male player for Japan, throwing the 2nd, 3rd and 4th stone of the game.
Well, again going sideways, really.
Really needs to find a way to get more spin on that out-turn release. All of them just drifting at the death.
And this is a great chance for Switzerland to just get a whole line of stones behind the centre guard.
Don't think they need to get too fancy with this. Just make sure they get the red stone out of there. They've got the last stone here in the 5th end, and remember they don't have as much sweeping power as they would in a normal game of curling, so want to play slightly more straightforward shots. Reto Gribi, the male player for the Swiss, just playing a controlled weight.
Yeah, it might be quite nice. You can have time to come up and catch it, do some sweeping, and get a good roll. Won't roll all the way in. Still sits in a nice spot. It's not easy for, I was going to say, for Japan to roll in, but then again, if anyone can roll in here, it's going to be Japan.
Oh, absolutely, on this out-turn especially. Well, I've got a couple of options here. They could try and make the hit and roll, or they could just try and tap this yellow back in to the back of the 4-foot and almost kind of create a nice little wall to catch their own red in if Switzerland were to play a takeout.
Yeah, that would be a nice call.
Another option, I don't think freeze is an awful call too. They need to try and get a red stone saved in there somehow. And again, look at the handle here. It's now changed. And definitely seeing a pattern here.
Yeah, that's got to be frustrating for the Japanese team by now, just seeing shot after shot being wasted, basically.
あれ以上回してくんないとちょっと難しい。
Well, when you're playing in such swingy ice conditions, one of the first considerations that you need to have in how you actually throw the stone and your own technique is that you're probably going to have to throw more rotation than usual just to control the path of the stone. Definitely something that all experienced players would do. And something that the Swiss team are doing as well. They're throwing a very solid amount of rotation.
Aufpassen, wirklich mit dem Händel.
Nog een klein weniger.
Weniger?
Ja, nog klein. Nog klein. Ja, zo.
I got pretty close to the hog line on that one, did Reto. Of course, we have sensors in the handles, which tell you whether you've released the stone before the hog line or not before it. Gone are the days of doing it by eye.
And working to get a little roll out, which was quite important. Can't keep leaving the same shot for Japan.
Well, I just wonder if Reto was sliding a little bit fast there and tried to take some off, holding on to the stone, and that's probably just what's made it curl a little bit too much. And interestingly, the Japanese have decided to switch handles. Freezing the back yellow wouldn't be a bad shot.
No, it wouldn't. And if they could ever just get this one on the lid.
Yeah, maybe Yasuo has just given up on making a shot on the outturn today. Well, again, this looks like it's going to over curl. Oh, just nicks that top yellow. And actually finds its way into second shot position.
Will be in the open though.
Moet hij hoesten?
Hast du nicht?
Hä?
Geht nicht.
Ist ein Shot?
Nein. Aber ich würde ihn nicht wahnsinnig rausspielen, das ist Hönne heissen.
Ja, da ist etwas Scheiße.
So what would you like to see them do here?
Well, they've got a couple of options. They could move that red, of course, and lie 3, maybe even 4. It's quite difficult to move that red and move your shooter without moving that yellow stone at the back of the rings.
Might not be the worst thing to move the yellow one though, because Japanese were trying to use it as backing with their.
Well, this is true. What they need to try and do is make sure they leave the stones in a circumstance where Japan don't have a pocket of 2 stones to freeze in. So they've got options. They could hit and lie 4 and try and get their shooter out of the way, or they could throw a draw to the top of the T line and get in there and lie 2 and also cut off that freeze that I'm talking about. Well, that's just the shot that they're looking at now. Doesn't look like too bad an option for me. And if they can get tons of curl, they can maybe even still leave that red stone exposed for a takeout later on. Oh, they're calling a timeout. Oh, and Almir, unlike some other coaches, down in a jiffy.
In a jiffy?
Yep. That's a good British term for doing something quickly. I'll be there in a jiffy.
Try to roll inside.
Thank you for that new word of the day.
Pocket. So I like to hit.
Well, yesterday we had rant. Today we have a jiffy.
We're still sitting 3, and she's got nothing to draw. She's nothing to freeze on.
Okay.
So I like hitting this 3/4. If you can save that one, fine. But the most important thing is don't sit there.
Well, Al's been known to do a little bit of dabbling with commentary as well. He was commentating on the latter stages of the European Masters in St. Gallen, Switzerland, just a couple of weeks ago. Certainly knows his stuff. Of course, the husband of Linda Muir, who does all the commentary for TSN.
And roll in. If it's curl a lot too much, we roll in like this.
If it's going to curl that much, you have to make a decision as soon as he lets go which way to go.
Yep.
And just like you're teaching me words, he is telling them what to do.
Good.
So,
And what's the call here?
Well, it looks like they're going to play a takeout on this red stone. Certainly the easier shot, I would say, but maybe the one that leaves an opportunity for the Swiss. As we've been saying time and time again, I think you want to play the easier shots, and almost, I think what you can do in mixed doubles curling that you can't do in normal curling is almost expect some sort of a miss, or at least not a perfect shot from the opposition.
No, because the percentages are so much lower with without the sweepers. Just give yourself the easiest possible option.
Doesn't want to hit on the nose here. Oh, actually, that's an almost perfect shot, really.
Yeah, it still leaves that freeze, but they're now sitting 4 and they're all well spread out. So if this could force Sato to a miss, and they could score big.
Well, the Japanese draw plate hasn't been too hot at all. I have no idea what Mochida's looking at over there. I think it's an in-turn draw, and that's it. Try and get one down onto the button and hope for some sort of a mistake.
Well, if they get one in the perfect spot, it's not going to be easy for Switzerland to do anything about it.
Okay.
And if they even just come down with some sort of freeze, then they could keep Switzerland scoring only 1 or 2.
Well, it's certainly going to need a great shot here from Mitsuki Sato. Japan needs her to make this shot. Don't want to be giving up 5. That would surely give Switzerland too big a lead for the Japanese to overcome. Done a good job so far of staying in this one. Oh, this has got a long way to go. Can Sato drag it down there? Looks like it's over curling too. Will it touch that front stone? It will. Just gets it far enough to lie 4th shot. It looks like it's going to be a draw for 4 for Michel Gribi. A well worked end by the Swiss.
Yeah, they really did a great job, and this is what they've been waiting for. They've been patient and they've had their chances, and now they're also getting rewarded for it.
Oh, Ruto Gribi coming out to help his cousin. Can they navigate this port?
Well, if they just tap the back yellow, then they would have needed more weight to do that. So I believe they have been cut down to 3. But that will still be them in a 2-point lead after 5 ends. 5-3. China is up 7-2 on Germany. Hungary stole 2 and they're now up 7-3 on England. Australia has a 5-4 lead over Romania, and Slovakia has a 7-4 lead over Netherlands. Big comeback for Slovakia in that game. They gave up 4 in the first end and then just took a point and stole their way into a 3-point lead.
Zet er andere handen.
Zo.
Nee, is goed. Is goed.
Enge tip.
Is goed.
Nee, richtig goed. Richtig goed, mooi spelen. Ja, dat is hier. Maar lang. Richtig goed.
Well, perfect weight here from Michelle Grebe, but over curls and sets up a nice pocket for Japan to freeze in.
Je hebt zeker 4 lijnen met 3,5. Ja, nee, ik sorry.
ちょっとだけ外ね。
ちょっとないぐらいかも。
ちょっと待って、ちょっと待って、まだまだまだまだ、ちょっと外。
Not sure there was room for Sato's broom there in the end, even though she was being called on to sweep. Not all the way down into the pocket, but in a good spot.
Inge 12. Inge 12.
Där också.
Oj, nu är längre, nu är längre.
Oj, så länge. Tar den ut, längre.
Häng ut, häng ut.
Well, this has got a lot of running. Are we going to see a stone removed from play? No, we certainly are. And I don't know what you call this rule. It's like the free guard zone rule, but it's not.
The
free
stone rule?
The free
Yep.
stone rule. That's what we're calling it from now on.
Yep.
Comes into effect, and they're going to have to reposition the stones. And of course,
That's a costly mistake.
the thrown stones removed as well. So a huge mess there. And a big advantage here for Japan. This is the beauty of mixed doubles curling. The momentum really flows back and forth. Quite often in the traditional format, you see one team really dictating and dominating the game, but it just takes one mistake or 2 mistakes in a row and all of a sudden your opposition are right back in the game.
Yeah, huge opportunity for Japan with that stone missed by Switzerland. Just get a third one in here in a good position.
Oh, look at that. Moshida makes a good shot on the out turn.
Yeah, fix the rotation. And, I
Oké, dus maken we op.
think we're seeing a run back. Or just coming down straight onto the reds. Reto has been really accurate with the big weight on the out turn. Little wobble there though, and oh, that's
Oh,
red
it's
lights
boggled as
flashing.
well.
Oh dear, it's just 2 stones in a row.
Sorry, I haven't seen it.
Well, I think that's 2 mental errors in a row from Reto Grebe. Free guard zone rule coming into play, and then a hogline violation to back it up. And Calder Benzies, the umpire there, needs to be on his toes here.
Yeah, but we had a red stone. Out of play because it was
There's no problem here, Calder.
I
No.
haven't seen it. It was red. The stone was red, so we just put it back.
It's just a very wobbly slide.
And takes a bit of time to adjust it, but of course you can't afford to let it take that much time.
But the stone was red.
Well, I don't think the umpire covered himself in glory there.
Could be a glorious end for Yasuo Mochida though.
I'm sure if Kenny Edwards was here, he would have some choice things to say about the umpires. He's always very honest, always gives an honest assessment of the umpiring. He was actually complimenting them earlier on, which is a real step forward, in, I would say, for Kenny.
For Kenny or the umpires.
Well, didn't quite get that one right. Mochida.
No, and, but it's still looking pretty difficult for the Swiss.
Oh, I don't know. I think if you just squeak one by the yellow guard here, you may be able to get a quad.
A quad meaning, of course, you remove 4 red stones.
Yes.
Or 4 stones.
Yep. Oh, that's certainly what they're looking at.
So
important. Well, it's really. I was going to say it's really important for Reto to completely refocus here. He's had 2 absolute stinkers with his last 2 stones, so he needs to make a good one here.
And I believe he's on the guard. Just came out with a really big push right on the center line, and he has been so good all through the game, but all of a sudden just comes out with one end where he makes nothing.
Well, he is only 23 years old. Maybe a little bit of work to do just on those mental skills, and when you play a bad shot you just need to bin it, put it to the back of your mind and focus on the job in hand, and that's 3 bad mistakes in a row by the Swiss.
Remember, they only have 1 shot remaining in the game, in the end.
So it's just now a beautiful position now for the Japanese. I think they would like to get that yellow stone moved if possible. No point in getting too fancy here. They can
afford to spread their stones out quite a bit.
Well, it looks like they're playing a freeze. The problem they have at the moment is that they can play a really good shot in this yellow stone, and Switzerland would still have a chance to remove a shed load of red granite. So maybe if they could just tap this yellow a little bit, maybe play a nice shot, leave themselves frozen. Needs to get past the top red, and look at the curl.
Bending in there.
Well, that's actually a really horrible result for the Japanese. They're only lying 1, and they've basically cut off all the angles to that yellow stone that's sitting there on the edge of the button. The only way they can maybe get at it is if they could hit that stone on the centre line at the top of the 4-foot.
Yep, well, Switzerland are going to go to remove a couple here, so they might get access to it.
Well, I'd be just considering this and having a look at it. Although it looks like the defensive option to try and get rid of some red granite, you need to look at what options Japan actually have here, and they don't have that many chances to get in at that yellow.
They could even throw some sort of guard here and just give up the 1, which is difficult to believe that I'm saying, but
well, a little bit of hot sauce on that one from Michel Gribi, sending down a bomb, and only gets a couple of those red stones moving, and there's going to be a potential takeout for 4 in what could well be an end to forget for the Swiss. And just shows it once again with this format, you think you're ahead in the game, it's so easy to get clawed back. Well, first things first for Mitsuki Sato, make sure you get 3, and if you get it really good then you can score 4.
Yeah, don't get too cute and over curl.
Well, we've seen a lot of curl on this side. As you said, Sarah, don't want to miss on the inside here, and immediately Mochida wanting the sweeping here. This looks tight.
It's looking well tight. Logan can't wreck on your own. Oh, and she has, but she got really lucky. Ended up scoring 3 anyway.
Well, some embarrassed smiles there.
Well, 3 points is still 3 points. Even if it's not how you intended to make it.
So after 6 ends, it's Japan 6, Switzerland 5. Well, here's 28-year-old Mitsuki Sato. Japan somehow in the lead in this game.
Well, I'll tell you why they're in the lead, because Reto Griebe gave it to them actually.
Yeah, he had a horrible, horrible 6th end, 3 misses. And 2 of them were rule violations. So, yeah, definitely one to forget. Oh, we had a miss there from Sato. Michelle Griebe only playing 35% for the first 6 ends. Not the best. So, both players coming out to sweep this one and trying to make a... I wouldn't say they want a freeze here, they want to keep this one quite high in the house, but it's important to try and get this stone on the centre line to prevent the freeze for the Japanese. Another option in that kind of situation is to try and move your own yellow stone at the back of the button. I don't know if you've seen too many people do that, Sarah?
No, I like it when they put it just top of the 8 foot and on the centre line. It makes the freeze kind of more difficult from both ways because it's tighter, and it also allows a lot of room for multiple scoring. When you come down too far, if your opposition gets a good freeze or a tap, then you might still end up scoring only 1.
Yasuo Mochida playing 58% for the game. Oh, looks like he's got a good line here. Has he got the weight? Well, he doesn't make the freeze on the shot stone, but still leaves it in a very useful position.
Yep.
Griebe playing 69%. Sure, that would have been a lot higher before the last end.
Well, he's had some time now to get his head around it. Looks like he's going to come down with a really nice one. Still leaves a bit of a pocket for a good freeze. But get a bit of separation in between the stones. And keep 3 yellows around. Trying to roll in off of this now, but played a bit more weight than I would expected. Rolls out instead.
Well, lots of handle on this, and Reto Greeby needing this one to be in front of the tee line, trying to block the out-turn freeze at the moment.
It's not a bad spot. They've maybe liked to come just half a stone or a stone deeper. It's not really any freezing opportunities there. Japan could maybe go to tap this back, or well, they could actually just play a double as well. Sit shot.
Has he made a double? He has not. And leaves the red frozen on the yellow, but lined up onto that wide red. Well, they've kind of set their stall out here a little bit. They need to continue to protect this yellow stone on the button. They can't allow Japan to make a freeze on there, or that could really turn the end on its head.
He just played this shot as well, so just needs to be a bit deeper. And this is looking very good.
Well, that's almost perfect. I think that even helps him just moving that stone a few inches. Any sort of a takeout on that yellow stone would go directly onto the wide red. Terrific shot there by Reto Greeby, and great to see him put the horrors of the sixth end behind him.
So 42% for Mitsuki Sato. It's been quite a tough game for the Japanese team, but they have really been hanging in there. Ahead on the scoreboard. Just trying to freeze their way out of this situation, but it's too long, I'm afraid. Still, well, Switzerland would still have been sitting two even if she had made that freeze, but she would have kept them to two probably.
Yeah, it just needs to be the same freeze again here for the Swiss to get in there and lie three now. Michelle Greeby playing the final stone of the 7th end. And just needs to get down onto their yellow stone on the button. Can't even be on this, the wide red just played. It's a really nice catcher for them, and that's exactly the one they're going to use. 3 on the button and 3 on the scoreboard for Switzerland. And 3 threes in succession as well. 7 ends played, Switzerland 8, Japan 6.
And being 2 points up in the final end of the game is certainly a great position, but remember, that was the 3rd end where they scored 3. The teams on this sheet, so game's definitely not over. Some Swiss and Japanese fans have come to watch. And well, China beat Germany. That game's over. They won 12 shots to 2. Hungary also won against England 9-3. It's 7 each between Slovakia and the Netherlands. Netherlands came back with scoring 3 points in the 6th end. And it's 6-5 Australia, 1 point up on Romania playing the 8th end. So this is when the Swiss team really needs to start thinking, because when you're 2 points up, you normally go quite defensive, but you don't have that same amount of stones, and you can't play a lot of takeouts in mixed doubles, so you need to think this through properly. Certainly making this one perfect is going to help them. It's a great first shot by Michelle Greeby.
Yeah, really good shot. Just over curls a fraction. So it would be quite nice if Japan could bump that yellow and take the angles off. Freeze also a good result here, but more so about the line this one for Sato. Suki Sato did place first in the Pacific Curling Championships in 2005. Would have only been 19 then. Well, really nice weight, but didn't manage to get the line to make that tap that we talked about.
And still not allowed any takeouts. Switzerland are coming down with yet another freeze.
Yeah, looks like a good call to me. Let's try and put another one in the pocket and contain those red stones, really. I can even afford to kind of bounce off their own yellow like that. And that's a nice shot again by Greeby. He just kind of left the building for 15 minutes.
And then came back.
And then he realised that we still had the game to win, and he started to making some good shots again. Well, I would like to see them, the Japanese, play that same shot actually that Greeby just played, come down on the out turn and bump that yellow. It's going to be their best chance to bring those other red stones into play. They need to move that one, not the other one on the other side. Looks like they're just going for a freeze though with this one.
Again over curling, not the worst result though. Giving yourselves 2 corner guards when you need to take 2, but I'm not sure they're really set up to use them.
Well, Switzerland with their 2-shot lead, they can't really afford to play a takeout here. They're in a good position at the moment.
They just make sure that the corner guards are not going to get used by keep controlling the centre line.
Well, I think a freeze would be a good shot. Not too sure about that one.
There could be a double in a roll behind the corner on for Japan. If they hit, well, he's pointing at hitting this on the nose. It could just hit it a bit on the right-hand side and roll out. Get rid of both of the yellows.
I think the difficulty they have is, I think they would want to play that double, but it's difficult to hold the shooter, and I think that would be the key with that one. If they don't hold the shooter, then they're just going to leave a double for the Swiss to make. It's a really difficult situation. It's hard to see them making a multiple score here. They could. It's almost like one of these shots that you just need to rumble things around a little bit and hope that the angles improve themselves a little bit. It's so difficult to say exactly what the stones are going to do. But it's quite a wall. And the problem isn't the stone on the tee line and the stone at the back of the 4-foot. They can go quite easily. It's this yellow at the top of the rings that it's going to take the Japanese a couple of stones to remove.
And it's Aiko Iwasaki that's coaching the Japanese team. She did so even in the mixed doubles curling championship in Japan 2013 and 14.
Well, I would call the timeout here as well. I have no idea what the right shot is. I can't really see an obvious one.
でも変なウエイトだとみんなこの辺残っちまうんだよ。これがこうやるよりはこれウエイトで飛ばした方がいいと思うんだ。
I almost think it might be best just to nose hit the yellow at the top of the 4-foot, just to like hack weight and at least leave a gap for the yellow stone to go through and leave your red stone at the top of the 4-foot controlling the situation. It's maybe about the best they can do here. Well, makes a double. You talked about Sarah.
Yeah, but he really needed to keep the shooter.
So I'm kind of lost here. Is just one stone to come? Each?
2 each.
2 each?
Yes.
Okay, so still Greeby to play here. And I'm surprised they're not going after this double. I'm pretty sure if this was normal curling, you would be playing a takeout here.
Yeah, and by now it is normal curling. I mean, look at it. You've got 2 corner guards, a couple of stones in the rings. They're 2 points up. They're allowed to hit. Of course, they would maybe leave a huge gap for the freeze, but
I still don't think I'd be that.
No, if they make the double, they have at least an extra end. They would not allow Japan to win.
As well, I think draws are easier shots than takeouts in mixed doubles with the lack of sweeping. Actually, quite a good shot there by Greeby.
Just wonder if Japan could get some separation. They don't need to play a lot of weight. They could keep them both as a little bit of backing if they hit it just there. Maybe the right one slightly before the left one.
Yeah, I think just a quiet weight takeout might be the way to go here. Just a hack weight and just try and punch both the yellows back. Hit right in between them. Right in the clef. I think I need to learn that move to bring the stone out.
Yeah, me too.
Very stylish. So, going with the big weight here, Mochida.
I'm not sure he needs a lot of weight. He needs to hit it perfect. That was probably the reason why he didn't need a lot of weight. Actually spills its own, leaves 3 yellow. Just needed to hit the other one first a bit. And still, just with backring weight, if you hit it in the great spot and push both of them back, you're definitely going to keep 3 reds.
Well, I think this is just an out-turn peel required. Just to chip this red out. Don't need to overthink this too much, and even if they did lose their yellow at the back of the forefoot, then I don't think there's a shot for 2. Not a realistic one anyway.
Ja, und gerade ist der ganz blöd.
Er muss dann gleich zuerst so, ja. Er müssen ihn so nehmen. Gut.
Wie schnell? 9.
Ja.
So this shot could win them the game.
Yeah, no heroics required here. Just get rid of that red stone. Michelle Grebe just with a kind of controlled weight. And Reto Grebe coming out to help on this one.
It's really curling on them. And
wow.
They've stuck it.
I think that shot just is a pretty fair reflection of the whole game.
Sorry.
Every time one of the team look like they're going to get into some sort of a winning position, there's a big miss. So should be a straightforward shot for Sato to take this to an extra end.
どうしてもいいからってください。外からテイクして伸ばすか。こっちからどうぞ。
私のテイクショット率どう大丈夫？
自信があると自信がある。自分がもうこれだってラストローから。
ドロー幅難しいよねここ。
No. Certainly given this one some thought.
I don't think there's too much to think about though. I think yellow are lying 1. They have second shot. Remove the best yellow and you score 2.
もうちょっと読んでもいい。
Okay, so they've nominated a takeout at the back of the forefoot here. They obviously feel like this yellow must be lying in shot position. Otherwise they would be throwing a draw.
It's difficult to tell from the camera angle. We might never know, because if they nose hit this one, they take 2 for sure. Get the extra end.
Well, Sato doesn't have much to roll to here. Needs to hit this one plumb in the face.
Yep, 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 yep.
on. Really need to go here.
Oh, this one's going to overcurl. Will it even hit the yellow? It will not. So, a game with lots and lots of errors, and Switzerland come through it unscathed with a win over Japan by 8 shots to 7. Switzerland chalk up their 4th win of the week, 4-1 now, while Japan will fall to 3-2. And I think Switzerland probably were the winners in the end.
I would say so. I think overall they were the better performers in this game.
Well, high scoring stuff, as you can see in that second half. Trading threes, and then a chance to even things up and take things to an extra end, but unable to do so. And confirmation it was actually a steal of one in the night in the 8th end. Doesn't make too much difference, but the official scoreline will be Japan 6, Switzerland 9. Not a tell I, and that absolutely baffles me. The scoreline has been changed to as it reads there, so, or it did read before it got changed. So it was actually 8-7. Big apology to our production team, but I'm just reading what the officials are putting on on the board. But if that is true and Japan were lying shot stone coming to that last one, it baffles me that they threw a takeout. They could have just thrown a draw with backing to score 2. And just a quick recap of what happened elsewhere here in draw 18. Sheet A, China beat Germany by 12 shots to 2. Hungary beat England by 9 shots to 3. Australia defeated Romania by 7 shots to 5. Of course, our featured game, Switzerland 8-7 winners over Japan. And on sheet E, Netherlands are leading Slovakia by 8 shots to 7. Last stone just coming down at the ice at the moment. A draw for 2 for Slovakia, and it's come up short. That one's going to go to an extra end. Can you believe it? Rubs a guard that wasn't even in play, and that one's going to need some overtime to separate those two teams. Well, let's have a look at this evening's draw. Japan and Switzerland going head to head, and this is Reto Grebe with a lovely little tap, but it didn't quite move far enough to line shot position, and that would be how the stones finished. It would be a score of 1 for Japan, 1-0. Second end. Heaps of yellow granite in the 4-foot circle. And this is Yasuo Mashida with a big weight takeout to remove 2 yellows. And that's how the end would remain. A score of 2 for Switzerland, and after 2 ends, it's Switzerland 2, Japan 1. Into the third end. Here's Reto Grebe once again, sending down a big weight takeout and making a lovely little hit and roll. But again, it would be that stone on the button that scored for Japan, and it would be 2 each. Fourth end. Reto Grebe once again sending down the heater and smashing those 2 reds out of there. However, it would still be a steal of 1 in the 4th end, and Japan would go into the halftime break with a 3-2 lead. Here's Michel Grebe first and last stones for Switzerland today, with a chance to draw one in to score 4. Already lying 3 though, and that would give Switzerland the upper hand after 5. 5-3. Here we are in 6, and Japan with a takeout to score 3, possibly even 4. And look at this for a slice of luck. Rubs off her own red stone and takes out the yellow on the button. 3 for Japan and a 1-shot lead after 6 ends. Then here in 7th end, a couple of nice draws from Reto Grebe, setting up this chance. And Michelle Grebe makes no mistakes in converting this, puts 3 on the board for the 3rd end in a row and leads Japan by 2 shots coming home. And then here in the 8th end, it turned out Japan were already lying shot stone, but maybe the Japanese not willing to risk it and throwing the draw, went for the more difficult takeout and over curled. No extra end, and it would be a Switzerland win. 8-7, Switzerland 4 wins and 1 loss. So interview coming with.
So yet another win. What is the Swiss secret to mixed doubles curling?
I don't know, we just play, we match good together. We can work together. We just try to do our best and it works at the moment, yeah.
Did you get any good tips from your coach coming into this?
For sure, our coach is pretty good. He has a lot of experience, so he every time says you have to breathe, and I think that's important point when you're a little bit nervous. Yeah, I think it's good. He's a great coach. Yeah.
And it was also a great mental turnaround for you in the 7th end. Did you say anything special to Reto after the 6th end that made him perform so well?
Don't know, it's what he said before, just breathing. We try to take stone by stone and not think at the back or at the future, so just the stone we have in front of us, just play it the best possible way, yeah.
Well, you did a good job. Congratulations and good luck.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
There you go, the thoughts of the winning team Switzerland with an 8-7 win over Japan this evening from myself, Logan Gray, and Sarah Carlson here in the Ice Bowl. Thanks for watching and join us for more at 9 o'clock.